I feel like maybe it was the Flint 13s that had come out. Like I forget.
I don't know what year. If you said a year, I can probably break it down.
And I remember coming home and just like begging my mom.
Yeah.
Mommy, I gotta have these. Like, please.
What's the story? Did you come up with a story where he's like, listen,
No,
I'll wash the dishes for 3 weeks.
So like get all the grades in. And mind you, I'm in middle school being a goofball.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so I had really good grades in elementary school. I get to middle school, you're going through puberty, you're trying to talk to girls.
Yeah.
I'm clowning around in class, so my grades are abysmal. And here I am begging for some J's. And my mom looked at me and she said, Michael Jordan is a thief.
What?
I said, so first time, like, why you gotta go? Like, why are we taking it there, mommy? Like, why are we? And let me tell you why he's a thief. He's charging $150 for these sneakers, and I will never buy them for you. And the only way you're gonna get some Jordans is if you get a job.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 221, and this week I bring to you, I don't know how to introduce you, to be honest.
Yeah.
but welcome to the podcast, Zellnor Myrie.
No, it's good to be here. Most people call me Z in regular conversations. Yeah, so let's just be Z.
Welcome to the podcast, Z.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's hard to say that to somebody in a suit, but for people who are not familiar with you, how about you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a state senator. I represent Central Brooklyn. This is where I was born and raised, and I am running to be the next mayor of New York City, which is an exciting thing. It is a humbling experience, traveling all around the city. And of course, I know where I grew up, where I represent, places that I've been around, but I've learned a lot in the past year. I opened up an account to explore a run literally a year ago, in early May, and been just hitting it hard, hitting the campaign trail hard. It's a wild existence.
Yo, first of all, I told you earlier before, it's like I'm getting hit with your ads like crazy, which is fine. Like, I'd rather be informed.
Correct.
I think to be real, I think your ads are better than getting those flyers in the mail because you don't look. Nobody looks at them.
Nobody looks. And even if you do look, you're taking maybe 0.2 seconds, and you're like, oh, another ad. Trash.
Yeah. And they look exactly like the Citibank ones. Or like, you're just like, this is a lot of color.
It's glossy. It's like, nah, take people where they're at.
Yeah. And but I was going to say, because before I jumped on here, or before I came down here, I'm on the City Bike. Shout out to City Bike. Yes. But you did a recently, Che Ose, right?
Yes.
Che Ose?
Yep.
Or is it
Chi?
Yep. My bad.
Yeah. Sorry, Chi.
Yeah. You two did a collab post, a video, social video that was really dope. I thought it was something that like a lot of people need to understand, that like you're trying to take down somebody, and it's like, and a combined effort is better than no effort at all,
And it's different. In this, like, historically, we have not had ranked choice voting in this city, and I'm sure we'll get into that. This is a whole thing.
Yeah.
But historically in politics, it's you against the other person, or you against the field, and then y'all duking it out, and you're tearing everybody down because there can only be one.
Yeah.
And that is the case, that there can only be one, but we allow in the city system for you to rank, and that can engender some coalition building. You can build some teams so that you're not tearing people down, because you need their voters to be supportive of you as well. And we got one particular guy in the race who I'm sure we'll talk about.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to be like, he shall not be named.
No. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about him. But who has no business being in City Hall. And so if we're going to collectively try to make that happen, it makes sense for us to team up.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting time in general.
Indeed.
And before we will get into the question. Before we jump into that, I think that like it is important. You must pay attention to local government in your state, your city, wherever you can, because we can make choices. We can help make choices. We can be part of the problem. I was going to say part of the problem. I meant part of the solution.
It's part of the solution. Part of the solution.
Yeah, part of the solution. But you're here to answer the question that I ask everybody each week, and that question is, what's your first kicks? What's that first pair you absolutely need to have?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the first pair that I remember. That like, because I grew up. Both my parents are immigrants.
Yeah.
Both of my parents worked in factories when they got here.
Yeah.
My mom did not have bread. Like, we were struggling.
Yeah.
So I remember the first pair that I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm on now. Shacknosis.
Let's go.
Couldn't tell me
that was a moment.
Nothing. I had we had the 3/4 denim shorts.
Yeah.
Like the crisscross joints.
Yeah. The cross colors.
Yeah, the cross color. Like I was on 10. Had my Shacknosis. And so I would love.
Don't tell me you had the shorts backwards on though.
Nah, I didn't have the shorts on backwards. I was doing crazy. But I had the VHS for the young kids. I had the VHS of the crisscross video. Jump. I was going crazy. I really thought I was the man. And I know they just retroed, but like I'd love.
And now he's a president, so we're gonna hopefully we get more colorways instead of that black and white.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like I have some sentimental attachment to the Shacknosis, and like but I'm a big, as I got some sixes on now.
I know you've been pounding the pavement. With these
I've been pounding the pavement with these sixes because for me, it has to be a mix of, because I go to church too, and I'm a person of faith, of course, but like I'm going to church to meet voters,
right? And
so you can't pull up anything too crazy in church, right? So I feel like I can still get away because these are clean enough, like that I can. I can pull up to church, but then I can still be at the subway. I can still be doing my thing.
So the question would be, what is a pair you would be like, all right, I'm just gonna
go crazy?
Yeah.
In church?
I mean, that you can wear. Like if there was no, like, remember when in the NBA they lifted the team colorway band?
Yes.
What would that first pair you'd be like, all right?
Oh man. I think like, look, I think I could get away. I think I can get away with some Concords.
Okay.
That like,
I mean, you could do a cap and gown. I could do
a cap and gown. I could do a cap and gown. Well, the blue is a little. Yeah, I could do a cap and gown.
Maybe gammas.
Yeah, I was like, if I do some gammas, the blue might pop a little. The cap and gown, because it's all black, but then like, it doesn't pop enough, right? Like, so I still, because we lift in the band now, right? So if I'm doing the Concords, they could still, as the inspiration for the shoe, according to the lore, these are tuxedo,
right?
And so, I think I could get away with some Concords.
Well, all right. So if a sneaker customizer is listening to this, and they're like, "Hey, we want to help you out. We'll dull the 11 shine on it, so it's not popping."
Yo, let me tell you this, and I've had a personal struggle with this.
Yeah.
All right, so I obviously NBA players, or all sports players, they got PEs.
Yeah.
Brunson had on the Kobe 6 PEs.
The Ricks, or are you talking about
no.
The last night.
Was it last night?
Last night I've tried
to delete this from my entire memory.
I went immediately to sleep after that game.
So it's a funny story. So my wife, like, she understands how I get watching these games.
Yeah.
And so she was initially like, all right, so do you want to like go out to watch it? And I said, I cannot be around people. Like, the stakes of this game is too high. Like, and I'm out. If I'm out, I gotta engage, and people, people want to. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna step out because I already know things are like that. They're a little too tense.
Yeah.
And as soon as the game was done, I just like straight to sleep.
Yeah.
I tweeted something angry about Eric Adams putting up these street signs before What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I would, because like I work by that block.
Yeah.
And so I passed by on after game one. I my favorite chicken spot, Cauldron Chicken. If you've ever been,
okay.
If you've never been, go. Sorry, this is super New York centric, but it's one of the best for $12.99. Best chicken I've ever had.
Okay.
Right. So on that block, I look up and I'm like, there's a campaign sign on there. I'm like, he didn't do anything the first game. And last game, he got me even more mad. So I was like, I'm about to go over there and tear it down. So
it's such a bad, like, why would you do this? So I think I tweeted like, take these signs down now. And then I had to go to sleep.
So you're celebrating too early.
Like, what are we like? This
it's
is
like,
just,
do you remember what game was it? I don't know what team was it, or it could have been the Knicks. I don't know, but they won one game and we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals or whatever, and they released balloons. Do you remember this?
Oh my god.
I was like, what are we doing?
It's like this is just, it's out of pocket. So anyway, but the PEs that he had on, I've always been envious, like, yo, man, I wish I could have some PEs and play this. But now, as an elected official, like, I can't have PEs because then people are going to be like, oh, you're in the pocket of Nike. Oh, you're this big sneaker. Like, and so I'm always like, man, it's good.
You'll be at these, like, what's the, with the town halls or
right,
whatever?
Exactly.
Like, so let's talk about, like,
right.
I would like to bring up to the chambers that he's wearing PEs.
Like, he has player editions on. Will you stand up to Nike? Will you stand up? And so, like, I have to, all right, maybe in my post-political life, I'll be able to have some custom stuff without any conflicts of interest.
But let's talk about, like, growing up, because you grew up in Brooklyn. Like, I mean, you talked about not having all the money, but like, all the family didn't have any money. Growing up from immigrants, like, I'm also a child of immigrant. Is that the right way to say that? I don't know. But so what was that like? Like, were you, at what point did sneakers really hit you? Also, before I forget, shout out to Nick Engvall for putting you on my radar. Shout out Sneaker History. That's the fam. That episode, super dope, and I was like, I gotta get you on. I
appreciate. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. So I grew up in Flatbush, rent stabilized apartment. And it's funny, I talk about this now. And as a legislator, I help control the laws for rent regulation and all this stuff. But when you're growing up and someone says where you live, you don't say, I live in a rent stabilized apartment. This is just where we grew up, right? I was on Flatbush and Maple. And I went to public school. I went to school in Crown Heights. And it was predominantly Black and Caribbean. And so, we had all same cultures. It's really a community of immigrants. And I remember going to school, not being self-conscious about what I was wearing because I wore uniform all throughout elementary and middle school. So the only thing that could differentiate you was what was on your feet.
Right, exactly.
That was it. And so
that was the difference maker.
That was the difference maker. So
that could make or break you so quick.
That could make or break you. And so, like, you could, there were other accessories, like when JanSport was big, right? Like, and maybe you had the latest JanSport, and like for again, old heads, I can't believe it. I'm a geriatric millennial.
With you know
what I'm saying? You know how it goes. We had like the strings on the JanSport, and if you had the multiple joints, like okay, but that wasn't too bad. The sneaker stuff was like, so I remember coming home in middle school one day, and I feel like maybe it was the Flint 13s that had come out. Like, I forget.
I don't know what year. If you said a year, I can probably
so,
break it down.
And I remember coming home and just like begging my mom, Mommy, I gotta have these. Like, please.
What's the story? Did you come up with a story where he's like, listen,
No,
I'll wash the dishes for 3 weeks.
So like, get all the grades in. And mind you, I'm in middle school being a goofball, right? Like, so I had really good grades in elementary school. I get to middle school, you're going through puberty, you're trying to talk to girls. I'm clowning around in class, so my grades are abysmal. And here I am begging for some J's. And my mom looked at me and she said, Michael Jordan is a thief.
What?
I said, so first time, like, why you gotta go? Like, why are we taking it there, Mommy? Like, why are we? And let me tell you why he's a thief. he's charging $150 for these sneakers, and I will never buy them for you. And the only way you're going to get some Jordans is if you get a job.
Oh.
So here I am, having to go back to school in some knockoff Air Maxes.
Oh no, the ones that just say
Air,
yeah,
bro.
The Roosevelt Avenue ones.
Devastating. And so I'm trying to make up, trying to be cool, and we got like some really whack joints. And that feeling was not, like I say this half in jest now.
Right. Yeah.
When you're a kid, it's like
the world's
done. But it was like, even though my mom could not afford to get me that at that time, she tried to get me something new, right? Like try to put me on somehow. But like that's my sneakerhead origin story. Yeah. And I was like, yo, once I get a job and once I start getting paid, this will never happen to me again.
I swear to I swear to myself.
It will never happen to me again. And like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to get on it. My first job at Old Navy, I was 17.
Hey.
I was a denim expert. Shout out to the DEs, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, there was, do you know, this is a random poll.
Yeah.
There was one time, and it was only for like a small moment, but Old Navy sold raw denim.
Yes.
Why does nobody remember this?
Yes, no, this was the time I remember, because I was like very, very into this.
Yeah.
And like, whatever, I was obsessed, and we're really now detouring. If you were a denim expert, like your pride is in how smooth your wall is. And so like, I hated when people didn't ask for their size. This is just obsessive, because they're like, and I'm standing right here. Yeah, like you was out here
like, oh, my size.
you out here causing trouble. I'm like, yo, I spent 2 hours folding this, organizing it. I'm here, and then people just come snatching joints. I'm like, anyway, so I got when I got that, I think I ran and got some 9s or something that I was like, I have arrived. And that's how things started.
I always say, like, it's like the cartoon step into the doorway.
Right. Yep.
You're like, hey, I'm here.
Yes, I have arrived.
Did that spark the bug where you were just like, now I'm like, so I love asking this, when did sneaker culture actually like start like reaching to you?
Yeah. So for me, it was, so I got that in high school. I was a senior. And then as a freshman in college, freshman, sophomore, this is like back in the day when you were like hunting on eBay for stuff. And that
the misspellings.
Yeah, the misspellings. And
I just put Nike Dunk.
Right. Yeah.
Or like Dunk.
Exactly. And this was like back in the day when it's crazy to see colorways now that we would have clowned during that era as like, oh, those are variants, bro. Like
pickyourshoes.com.
Yeah, pickyourshoes.com. Like this is like, nah, bro.
Color kits.
Yeah, like this is terrible. But now this is like, these are the things that come out all the time. So I remember just like spending hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
You're watching the bids and like just being psychotic about it. And it's not like I'm getting a lot of bread. And so like, I'm like really trying to game out.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, now I got the moment.
Now I got the moment. Like, let's go and let's make it happen. I remember I showed up. This was the retro of the Grape Fives, like whatever one it was back in the.
I think that was 2016.
No, this is This is. 20? I think I was still
2008. Maybe?
Yeah, I was like 2008. It was like 2008. Okay, boom. So you're coming out. I'm like, I'm gonna go online. I'm gonna wait online. I can't afford the resale of this, right?
Was this the Nike Twitter links? Is it that, or was this just straight Nike.com?
No, this was like straight. This was Nike. No. This was me going on a Saturday morning to a Foot Locker in a mall.
Okay. On the line.
Sorry, on the line. On the line. Yeah, let me make that. On the line, waiting.
Don't worry, it's not the only time I've ever been mixed up. I said like online, and then they're like, I'm thinking online.
Nah, on the line.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm like, I'm gonna be smarter than everybody else, and I'm gonna pull up at 5 a.m. the first bus.
Yeah, first bus.
So I get off the bus. And I'm happy, like, I'm up on you. I get, there's already 10 people online. There's already 10 people online.
Yeah.
But okay, great. It's still dark outside. And we have come up with a system. I was like, okay, we ripping papers.
Yeah.
You were here first. You were here second. Da, da, da.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. So we chopping it up. Everybody's online. Da, 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 da. Bro, the second bus that comes, mad people get off the bus. So now it's pandemonium.
Yeah. Is this Fulton? Were you at
No,
Fulton?
this was, I went to Cross County Mall.
Oh, I don't know where that.
I went to, so that's in Yonkers.
Oh,
Because again,
why'd you go so far?
Because I thought I was smart. I thought I was gonna avoid the city crowd.
Yeah. You're like, I'm gonna
And
go.
yeah,
I'm going upstate.
I say, yo, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go right outside,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna avoid the city crowd, not knowing that there were so many people that were like, I'm gonna go right outside the city. Like, so everybody gets off the bus.
Yeah.
Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
People start fighting. Cops are called.
Shut it down.
And I was like, all right, all this is nice. I'm still getting my sneakers, bro. Like, I don't care. I'm getting my sneakers. So I like went up to the front of the line. I was talking to the employees. I feel so bad for whoever this Foot Locker person was.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've been here since 5 a.m. Like, I'm going so hard. And they probably just saw like, this kid is so unhinged.
Yeah.
Like, let's just let him come in and get these. And that was the last time I told myself, this is the last time that I'm ever going to wait on a line for a pair of sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Record scratch.
Yeah.
It was not the last time.
You really think that you can keep watching this episode without subscribing, or leaving a comment? Come on, man. And also, if you've been listening to this episode, leave a review. But back to the episode.
A true sign of addiction.
Yeah.
It was not the last time. But like, that is, that sort of, I earned my stripes in the sneaker culture.
You did, because like, I don't think because like people do go out of town for that,
right?
But this is a release that you could have stayed in.
I could have stayed in.
That's why I was like, did you go to like downtown?
Nah.
Fulton Street. I think you could have gotten.
I probably could have.
But that was your first time seeing somebody, like, people were actually camping out for a pair of sneakers.
Yes, correct. And I was like, oh, all right, now this is real. And because up until then I've been avoiding it by trying to order stuff online, on the internet.
Right.
And this was the first time I was like, oh, okay, so it gets serious out here. Like, and I want no part of it.
So you got them. And then what was it like going to school with it? Like,
I mean, because I was trying to like make the Fresh Prince colors. And so I think I had like a purple tee, and got some short, like, and I was in my mind, the man. And like, these had just dropped. They're so clean. And it really, and it's not like I didn't have at that point yet a sneaker reputation. Like, I had, I think
Old Navy was helping.
I think I had just, like, before that, I had the De La Souls, the lows, the yellow.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Come on now.
Oh my God.
And so like I had, and for some people, this is also a sneaker thing.
Yeah.
There's the language that sneakerheads speak.
Yeah.
And like, you can peep something and be like, oh, nah, those are cold.
Yeah.
And they're also sneakers that, like, even if you're not a sneaker person, you look at them and you're like, oh wow, these are like, you have some personality.
Yeah.
And so I had, the De La Souls, I think, are an example of that. So I had a reputation already.
Or were you, just to cut, were you a big De La Soul fan?
I wasn't at the time.
So you were just like,
this was just like, I had a real serious like SB run.
Yeah. That's what got me. That's what got me. Like that SB, like getting into SBs.
Yeah.
Like I felt like if you were, because my thing with sneakers is like, if your entryway is Jordans, like the Jordan community is so just kind of like, you weren't there. Like everybody, every single time. You weren't there when the 95s dropped. You weren't, the bread ones were, like you weren't there. Like it's always you weren't there. But with SB, like the SB community is like, oh, you should check this out. Dinosaur Jr. Oh, if you don't know who they are, you should probably listen to their music. Like it was always very like, we had conversations.
And there was cultural connection, right? Like it's funny, when I got the Jedis, my dad is the reason why I started watching Star Wars to begin with. And so I remember like showing him for the first time and like breaking it down, he like lit up.
Oh,
like
yeah?
he like, no.
I thought you were gonna give me the opposite. I thought you were gonna be like, son, I don't know what
like,
you're talking about.
No, but he was just like, wait, because
I don't know why I made myself sound like Obama, but all right.
But yeah, like these are not conversations I usually would have with my dad, but he was like, those are really bright laces, you know, because they had the neon. And I was like, well, it was a lightsaber and this and he was like, oh, wow. Anyway, so that was I was
That's
on a
awesome.
good.
First, I'm very jealous. Jedis are like, they're up there for me. I love those. That silver boxes.
Yes.
Silver boxes.
It's different.
Oh, man.
And like, this was an eBay hunt, a whole, and you think back, I think a lot of people do in the culture, like things that you could have and should have copped in the moment, in the time. And it's like, if I had only.
I still kick myself for passing. Well, one, I always say this. I sold a pair of Syracuse SBs, right? I let them go because I needed to pay my Nextel bill. No, I needed to pay my Nextel bill. It was going to get cut off.
The chirp?
The chirp.
The chirp? You had the chirp?
I had the chirp. And then I passed up on a pair of Dooms for $250. Like DS, size 13 Dooms, $250. And I was like, I can't do it.
Right. That's the whole thing. Like at the time, it seems like this is absurd. There's no way that I can pay this. And then now you're like, oh man.
If I had the money if I was making the money I'm making now, it's not a lot.
Right.
If I'm making the money that I was making now, back then,
correct.
I'd probably have everything.
It would be ridiculous. Because you see, I mean, even on some of the retros, you're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Anyways, don't get me started on retro and choices that we have made, I think, that have devalued.
You're not a fan of the as they just recently said Tokyo 5s are coming out. Like
I am happy for our younger counterparts who are now participants.
Yeah.
But this is, I guess, to the larger question on sneaker culture and who has access and who doesn't, and the commercialization and all this other stuff. I don't want to get too in the rabbit hole on that. I think it's just I'm salty.
That you didn't, but I think well, I don't know if it's because like I not to zoom forward, but like, are you still buying sneakers now? Because I know you in your profile you say retired sneakers.
Yeah, so I've had to slow down.
Right. But you're not
No, I'm not fully out the game.
Okay.
Not fully out the game, and I'll like I'm still like entering the raffle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and like if I win, I could tell my wife, like, babe, like I was in, like there was a chance. I didn't think I'd win.
Usually I never win those.
Usually I'm never, usually. And so, and when I hit, then it's like, all right, like,
look, I got him.
I got him. So I'm still, where I can, but I'm not like, I don't spend an inordinate amount of time.
So my thing is like, or the theme for that I've been talking about this year is all about bridging the gap between the younger kids and the the longtime followers of this, right? And how do we bring that? Because I feel like it's such a disparity between the two. I went to Cincinnati for this drop, and it's cool to see.
Man.
The unheard of. Shout out Phil.
Clean.
Grandma's Couch 2.0.
Yes.
But he, he always involves children, and like he gives back. He gives like a good amount of like kids pairs of the sneakers so that they have them, and they get to talk to people that he brought in. This time it was only female content creators or women content creators, and so they were just like, that's like my thing is, how do we continuously get people into sneakers or the culture part of it, instead of it just looking at it and be like, these are just two things that we just put on, and
So let me tell you something that I did on that front. So I remember the first time that I wore J's on the Senate chamber.
Yeah.
Like in the Senate chamber. And for those unfamiliar, right? So I serve in the state Senate. It's the upper house of the state legislature.
Upper house.
You know what I'm saying? Show some respect. And I got elected when I was 31 to the state Senate. And so the average age was 55 when I got in.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I walked in to the Senate chamber, I had my pin on, and one of the sergeant at arms people, that's supposed to, it's like, where are you going, young man? I said, I'm going to my seat. This is where I was just elected.
I'm supposed to be
here.
here.
I'm supposed to be here. Like, where are you going? And so that just being present in the chamber alone as a young person, as a young Black man, that had already started to shift the culture. Okay.
Yeah.
But we had at the time also a culture of just hard bottoms.
Yeah. Nothing
but hard bottoms in the chamber. All right, so I'm respecting COVID happens.
Yeah.
We still have to go up and pass laws and react and do all the things.
Right.
So we're all masked up. I look crazy because I hadn't gotten a haircut. So beard is full out. But I have on some sixes.
Yeah.
Not these. And I'm like, this is a once in a century pandemic. This is how y'all gonna take me.
Yeah.
And y'all not gonna kick me out the chamber. And I've been wearing sneakers in the chamber ever since.
It always starts with that.
Yeah. And I said, all right, so if I'm doing this, and there were some other people, some other colleagues that started wearing sneakers as well. I said, why don't we make this official and make a day sneaker day?
Yeah.
And encourage everybody, not just in the Senate chamber, but everybody. And so I introduced a resolution that said, on this day, it will be sneaker day. And bro, everybody in the building, I'm talking janitorial staff, Senate, Assembly staff, governor staff, people were so hyped. And so we had the full range. People who I didn't know were into sneakers, who were coming out like, oh, Jackie Robinson dunks, like people that I was like,
you got those?
All
right,
okay. But also just like regular Skechers. And I was going up interviewing people, and I said, all right, so tell me what you got on, why you got it on. And to be like, they'd they'll like pull me close and say, I can't believe we haven't done this before. This is just so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you take any random day, you go up to Albany, the state's capital, and you will see everybody just like wearing their sneakers, being expressive. And that to me is the power of our sneaker culture now.
Yeah.
I had on the floor of the Senate, we have people get up and speak about the resolution. This was in the middle of budget fights. I'm talking like there'd be blood on the walls, right? And Republicans, Democrats, where everybody's going for everybody's neck. On this resolution, everybody's talking about what sneakers mean to them and
That's
why
awesome.
It like it was so dope.
Awesome.
It was like one of the best days. And there's one particular Republican on the other side. He represents half of Staten Island. Like he's pulled up to the chamber in Yeezys and like all sorts of and talks about what it means. That's what the power of this and what you have done with this podcast. And what we're is trying to bridge that story and see how this brings us together. And it doesn't always mean that you got to come with like grails on, right? Like there's like you like wear what you want. And it's dope.
I think that it's like the way self-expression, when you talk about going to school in a uniform, like self-expression, that ability to have that moment to be like, I'm gonna express myself. I can only, like that's what my thing was always shopping at Old Navy. So shout out to you for probably helping me and me getting you mad to keep the cost low, but I'd still get a fresh pair of kicks.
That's
right.
That's right.
So like learning how to do that or just learning how to be expressive of yourself. And now, it is hard because with social media, it's a lot of just people being like, I want to be like this person, we've slimmed it down. Right. You talk about going to school pre-internet days. Like I was talking about this recently where it's just like the dopest or freshest person that you saw in school was inspiring you, but it wasn't like, I'm going to copy you.
No.
I'm going to dress better than you.
Correct.
Correct. So, bringing that to the Senate is like,
you
got to start lining in. You got to do you got to be like Fresh Prince with the
the seal. We've been trying to we might pitch we want some like Air Forces that are just like, like put that little New York seal on the heel.
I was just thinking about that.
That would be dope. And then it's not like the player edition conundrum because everybody got it.
Everybody got it. No, you got him too.
Yeah, you got him too. So like you can't.
What would be interesting, and I don't know if I could pitch this on here, a sneaker ball. State Senate level or just the House level.
I'm with it.
That would be amazing.
I'm with it. Like that would be.
Write it into Congress.
Let's do it. I'm on it. Priorities.
Yeah. After.
Yes, exactly.
But so, you talked about a little bit about your journey. So like, at what point did you just like, when did you start buckling down? That's like, cause you talked about being in the sneakers and then, you were a knucklehead, goofball in school.
Yeah.
So at what point, what was a turning point for you where you're like, I want to make change or I want to be part of a change?
So, my first couple of years in high school, I was still finding my way and figuring things out. And I was like, I got to go to college. So like, I got to get right.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Fordham University for undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually.
From Brooklyn?
Yeah. And so my mom, like a lot of our stories, our family stories are complicated.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad split when I was very young. Mm-hmm. So my pops was in the Bronx, and my mom was in Brooklyn. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of split. I had dual citizenship.
Yeah.
And
that Metro car was powerful,
I was running. So there were a lot of times where I would like stay with my pops, and figure things out.
Yeah.
So I'm in Fordham. I'm covering the basketball team for the school paper. I actually thought I was going to be a sportscaster.
I thought you were going to be like, I was going to be a hooper.
Nah, I would never.
I was going to go to the league.
Right. It could have been me.
Yeah.
Could have been me.
But I'm here writing. Right. If you lucky.
Right. I would be out there. So I was covering basketball. And which also fed my sneaker stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I thought I was going to do that. I interned at WCBS TV.
Mm-hmm.
I really, this was what I thought my path was going to be. And when I graduated, I took a community service trip to South Africa. And I went to Joburg, but then I went to the neighboring Soweto.
Yeah.
And it changed my worldview.
Yeah.
I said, okay, this like the sports stuff is cool and good, and it's like I'm hyped now. I was in like the Giants locker room as a little intern PA assistant, like looking around like, yo, this is amazing. Like these are heroes. I'm like, is this gonna be amazing when I'm 50?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely not.
Like probably
so Eli Jr. Tell me about it.
Right? This is gonna be some 20-year-old hotshot who's gonna be looking at me like, look at this old dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I came back from that trip. This is the Great Recession. No job.
Yeah.
But I still had all this will to do something good. So I started volunteering for a local community board. I have all the time in the world, so I'm going to every single meeting.
Yeah.
Taking notes. I'm doing all the stuff that no one else wants to do. So I'm walking the blocks. I'm looking at the cracks, reporting them, calling 311, really seeing how local government works. And the chair of that community board happened to be hired as the chief of staff for a city council member. And he said, Z, I've seen you around. You come to every meeting. Why don't you come intern for us?
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not doing anything else. And I'll see city government on a different level. I stay there. Within a couple of weeks, I'm hired full time as the press and legislative director. Mind you, I'm 22 years old.
Yeah,
that's
crazy title,
right?
Yeah.
Crazy title. I have no idea what I'm doing. But that's how I learned. And I start seeing, okay, so this is how government works, and this is how you draft a bill, and this is the impact that it has. And that like it was that I was going to community board meetings now as a staff representative of a council member.
Yeah.
And so when I'm hearing the needs from the community, like people saying, all right, I'm a tenant, I keep showing up to court. They know what their rights are. I don't know what my rights are. Something's wrong with that. I go back to the boss and I say, we should draft a tenant bill of rights and people should know what their rights are. Like that. And then seeing it actually happen and go through, I said, okay. But then I got disenchanted. I was like, actually, I saw some things that I didn't like.
Yeah.
A lot of bogus stuff behind the scenes on politics. And I said, I'm up out of here, actually. And
but I also feel like that's something that in any job we always see,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
It's like we see something, we're just like, I don't want to play the politic game to make this happen. Or
Right.
like, for example, you know, I worked in this candy store. Everybody's heard my story, but I
Mhm.
worked at a famous person's candy store, and you know, there was a moment where we didn't have a manager. I had no boss above me. It was just me. And then it went straight to like the GM.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there was no inventory manager. And I said, hey, I would like to be the manager.
Mhm.
And they were like, no, we don't think you really want it. And I'm just like, why? It's because I didn't play the
Right.
game to be like, oh, I'm your trusted right-hand man.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So yeah.
Now I was running into some of the same issues where, you know, I just didn't feel like I was being recognized or appreciated. I'm doing all this work. And so I said, all right, let me go. I got my master's in urban studies, went back to Fordham. And in that program, there was a class that taught you about land use law.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through the class, I'm listening. I'm like, hold on, the lawyers actually have a really important role in local policy and urban policy. I can make a difference that way. I don't have to do politics. I can do. And so I applied, like took the LSAT, went to law school.
Wow.
And, you know, had this whole public interest thing in law school. I was working for the Cornell Legal Aid. I worked for the Capital Punishment Clinic. I was doing moot court, all these things. I get this opportunity to work at a law firm, one of these big fancy law firms in the city. And
it wasn't Celino and Barnes.
It was not Celino and Barnes. R.I.P. though. R.I.P. though. Right. Because what is it now? Because what is it? It's just Celino or it's just Barnes?
I think it's just Celino. Yeah,
Celino is just Celino. It's just Celino.
Yeah.
But yeah, Celino and Barnes,
injury attorney, 100-888-8888.
May we all have branding so strong.
Yes,
that
and
like
877-393-4448.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, come on.
I was just just randomly Top Dog Law Firm.
Oh my God. I just was in the car with my friend this morning after I played basketball, and I was like, these commercials are insane.
I mean, it's just more outlandish by the second.
Yeah.
And I just found out that it's not just here in New York.
Oh, really?
It's all across the country.
Really?
Yes.
Oh
Fact check me on that. And I couldn't believe it. Okay, so anyways, we get inside.
Imagine he's like TD. That's actually like TDE. Like it's actually Top Dog. It's like, I'm running TDE and I got
exactly,
I got SZA and all them.
Exactly.
But I also got this law firm, you know?
So I work at this law firm.
Yeah.
Really prestigious law firm. And then I get an offer to work there after I'm graduating from law school. So my path is like pretty set. My third year of law school, I have a moot court argument where I'm like in the actual federal court, actual federal judges, but it's a fake case. I finish, I do my thing. One of the judges comes off the bench and he says, "What you doing after law school?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be working at this fancy law firm."
Yeah.
And he said, "I was so impressed by your argument. I'm going to offer you a federal clerkship on the spot now."
Wow.
And the reason that this is remarkable is hundreds of law students apply to a single judge every single year, and they usually only take two. So I get this offer and I'm like, all right, we on. Yes, of course. So now
all I can picture is like, you ever see the Tiger Woods where he's like, bring it in, he's like, bring it in, big dog.
So I'm like, yeah, we're good, Your Honor. And so now I have it bracketed in my mind. I'm gonna graduate law school. I'm gonna have 2 years at this fancy law firm.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have this 1 year prestigious clerkship, and then I'm gonna be able to go off and do whatever it is I want to do. Trump gets elected the year I graduate from law school.
Boo.
Right? Oh, boo, boo, tomato. And I'm at the law firm and just thinking, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking back to my previous public service, the thing that animated me to want to help and serve the community. Donald John Trump is president.
Yeah.
And the guy who's representing the community I was born and raised in is a Democrat that is caucusing with Republicans.
Yeah.
Who's given his vote to the Republicans. So I'm asking people like, all right, so you going to run? You going to run? Because I had stayed involved. And
you were like government.
So
adjacent.
yeah. So I was like, I was working a million gazillion hours at the law firm, but I would still go to community meeting. I would still, and so I knew people. And I said, yo, you got to run against this guy. Like, come on, Donald Trump is the president. And everyone was like, yeah. The thing is, he's been around forever, and he's Eric Adams' protege. And I'm like,
what?
And so no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
I said, all right, let me see what it would take to do it. Here's the problem. The election was September of 2018.
Yeah.
This fancy federal clerkship that I got in this very unique way, September 2018 is supposed to start. So I had to choose.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough choice because one path is, here's a pretty guaranteed, path to success. I'm from Flatbush. Like, this is my key out. I'm gonna make money, get mom a crib, like the whole, the whole thing, or take a chance at winning, make significantly less money, but be able to make the changes.
Yeah.
So I decided to do this. Sat just like this across from the judge who made the offer to me. And I said, Judge, thank you so much.
He gave back the...
He had to pull the Tiger Woods back, right? Yeah. Like, I said, but I got to run. And to his credit, he leaned back and he said, I'm disappointed, but not in you. I'm disappointed that I'm not going to have you as a clerk.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't do this, you're going to regret it the rest of your life. So I ran. I won. That was 7 years ago. And here we are.
Yeah. That's like a mentorship moment.
Yep.
Right. Like that was a moment where he could have been like, I could push you down.
Correct.
But instead he gave you something to be like, now I have no regrets.
Correct. Exactly.
And, yeah. So like that propels you so much forward into pursuing where you want to be and where you're going now.
That's right.
So that's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm blessed, man. I'm really blessed.
So like, I mean, dumb question, but were you still collecting sneakers during that time?
Yeah. No, I mean, I was still doing it, and I was, again, not with the same proclivity, but I was still,
I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know how much time you had. Like, you just said that you were doing everything. You literally just said you were doing everything. So then how did you collecting?
I was still on it because there's a funny story talking about lines. So I went to Cornell Law School.
Yeah.
So I'm upstate. And although they wouldn't consider themselves upstate, that's central New York. That's a topic for another podcast.
Wait, part 2.
Yeah, right, part 2. And there were some SBs that came out, and I can't believe I'm blanking on the name now.
What year?
This was 2016.
2016.
They are forest green and tan. It has the tree on the
gold diggers
on the tongue.
Not the
gold diggers. I can't believe I'm blanking on this, but
that's a tape box.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a collab with. I'm blanking. It's not I thought it was a gold diggers. Then it had like GB in the back or something like that.
No. So they were like.
I shall.
Yeah. Yes. Please. We will confirm this.
Yeah.
So I took the bar exam early. I took it in my 3rd year.
It's a high, right?
Yes, it's a high. It's a high. All right, hold on. I got to pause because
no.
Add some dramatic flair to it. So it was a high. I took the bar exam in February of 2016. I did a program where you could take the bar early and you can then intern the rest of the way. So I did have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And these came out and they were limited release and, skate shop. And there was a skate shop in Ithaca that had it. And I camped out for them.
You camped out during all this?
I camped out for them. And I got them.
I can't find them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're going to have to we'll edit it in post or whatever, however y'all say it. And so I was still doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start. So how did you manage to do that and camp out And then like, are you ever tired?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired right now. But you push through, and also it's a form, as you know, it's a form of release.
Yeah, it
For
is.
me. Like it is particularly like, come on, you in law school and all you're doing is talking to other law students. Like, okay.
I do
But
wonder if like you would be like, are you able to just be like, hey, I'm in the sneakers? Or is everybody just like, no, I got to study this. I got to study for the LSATs.
right
Or,
now, I
like,
mean, no, like there are people. I mean, law school respectfully attracts a particular type of person, and so there is a lot of competitiveness and like getting down to the. But like there are also people that like I've like best friends now. People who came to my wedding, etc. No one was quite into sneakers the way that I was in law school, and so this was a space that I could enjoy by myself.
Like by yourself.
Yeah.
So like, do you find that? Because I feel, are you separate? Like, are you, I don't know, this sounds weird.
Yeah.
Are you living a double life? Like,
no. So the beauty now is, one, there's some other people, some other colleagues of mine in the state legislature that are also very into sneakers. Like my brother, Senator Jamal Bailey, who's from the Bronx, like is really about this.
He's sending you
like we are.
I got the fours.
I got him. We have, there are like 4 of us that are on a group chat that like if there is a release and like we somehow forget, like somebody catches it and it's like, yo, it's about to be 10 o'clock. Like get the app open. Like it's that time. And so we got people in the Senate, people in the Assembly who are on that. So it helps. And now that I've done like a public thing, we've done sneaker day. People are now like, now it's wild.
Yeah.
Because people will come up to me and they don't look in my face first. They look in my sneakers first.
Now you're getting checked for
Now I'm getting checked by people that are not sneakerheads. Like, I'm like, how dare you? But that's what the represents. So I don't have to live a double life because people know that, this is part of who we are.
Yeah. I meant more like back then. Like, because you're hanging around with law students, but then you're like, I'm going to go.
Yeah, like I didn't tell anybody I was camping out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
until I got him. Because if I would have camped out and not got him, they would have been like,
shouldn't you
are
be
a fool, right? Like you are a
fool.
fool. So I did. I was low. I was low.
That's insane. That's a great story. Though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I will find the pair. We
will get it. We will get it.
I just gotta. My Google search has to be a little bit more specific. I do. It's like, so just to be what I'm thinking is it's the green shoe with like the tan.
Yes. Correct.
And it's a high.
Yes.
Right.
And it's a high. Yep.
I'm trying to think.
I can't. I
thought it was. I keep calling them. I think it's because I call them gold diggers, but I think they're called like tree hunters or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Of course, I'm gonna remember once we're done with this.
Immediately.
Immediately. Like
that.
Boom. Yes, correct.
So, you talked about your journey like that, getting into, government, and I feel like I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious because now we're starting to see a movement of younger people jumping in and stepping up. Because, like you said, in 2018, that's when we started seeing, AOC and everybody started talking like, we need to take this seriously.
Yep.
So I'm curious are you seeing more of that, or like there's an initiative that's going on now where it's like I forgot the name of it. I'm so sorry, but there's like a group of younger people trying to help other younger people win elections in their state. So like
there's a bunch of groups, organizations. One is Run for Something.
Yes, that's what it is.
And Amanda Littman is dope. She just came out with a book. She's a constituent of mine right now, and it is part of this. Because you know how politics are, and it's not actually unique to politics. This happens in every industry. There's a lot of gatekeeping. A lot of gatekeeping by the old guard.
Yeah. Welcome to sneaker culture.
Well, that's how I can only imagine, right? So it's not about like, all right, let me help you be better and serve and do the thing and be great. And I've always I've never understood this dynamic because if you are helpful, like you could be the big bro. Like, when if you helped me to become who I am, I'm shouting you out everywhere I am. I'm like, look, this is the home. Like, this is big homie. Like this, I would not have
got the cosign.
Yeah, got the cosign. But everything is so competitive. But so it's the same thing in politics where you want to run and people tell you got to wait 15 years. What? I remember when I ran for state senate, there were people that said, well, why don't you try running for this very smaller, more less impactful thing first
Mhm.
before taking the shot. I said, why? I'm born and raised here.
Yeah.
I have the same interest, impact. These are my friends, my neighbors, my teachers. Like, let's give, and also, y'all have had it,
Mhm.
and we are where we are today.
Right. Yeah.
We're in the conditions today.
Yeah.
So perhaps we should try something different.
Mhm.
And I have seen that change, and there's so many young colleagues now. I was a staffer. I was just in the Bronx today with Council Member Kevin Riley,
Mhm.
who's our age, who we were in the Bronx Young Democrats together.
Wow.
And we were both staffers together.
Mhm.
And now he's the council member. Like, this is,
We're
and this
seeing
is
that
that we're
change.
seeing
Yeah.
that change, and it's exciting.
It's very exciting.
It's like
Yeah.
it becomes more accessible
Mhm.
for our young people. I didn't grow up seeing anybody my age be elected to office.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
But now there's a whole generation of kids. I met some young men today
Mhm.
who were like, "Yeah, we're trying to get like you, bro." I said, "Yes, you will. Yeah,
Let's
yes,
get it.
yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want."
Yeah.
So it's good. It's dope to see.
That's really dope to see and dope to hear too, because like we're in a I feel like we've been in such a standstill of just like nothing but old people running things,
Mhm.
right? And so we're gonna get old ideas because I mean, if we talk to our parents,
Right.
and you'd be like, hey, we should probably get a computer.
Right,
I don't know,
right, right.
that's what I feel. And we should be like, my mom will be like, why do you need a computer? I'm like, and then I had to be like, because they need us to use it for school to write essays.
Correct.
Like, and then you have to give that, but you can't do that with like government.
Yeah, but this is the dynamic exactly. And let me also say, it isn't most of the time
Mhm.
ill intention.
Yeah.
This is just what they know. This is
Mhm.
just what people know. It's what happens to all of us.
Yeah.
There will come a point where you and I are gonna be seeing some younger folks do something, and we're gonna be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't even see that. It's already happening to me. Like, sometimes I'm walking the street and I'm like, "Oh, does this what happens?" Or
Oh,
like,
man.
I'm looking at stuff like, okay, like if you like it, I love it. But
Look, I went to Complex Con
Yeah.
last year. I'm going this year, but it was a lot of Playboy Cardi fans, and I've never been in that atmosphere. It's a lot of black, a lot of like high heels and not high heels, platform like boots, and I was like, if you love it,
yeah,
you got it.
Like you got it.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like a lot of people our age, I would say 60% are like, so like you're doing it wrong, and you're just like, you can't just let people try.
Let them
things.
try. Like
Yeah.
go for it. It's like, it's not my ministry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
You're not hurting
You're not
anybody.
hurting
Yeah.
anybody. Great. And how much more important is that when it comes to helping people to have affordable housing, affordable healthcare, safe streets, safe subways, after school, all of that. Like, we got to do some different things, even if it hasn't. Everyone tells you what's not possible.
Mhm.
Why? Like one of the things that I have proposed, as I'm running for mayor,
Yeah.
I say I want to solve every shooting.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Well, yeah, every shooting is unreal." Well, why should we accept gun violence?
Exactly. Yeah.
You tell me that. I don't. Let's do everything. Are we always going to get it right? Are we going to be perfect? Of course not.
No, but attempt needs to be made.
Come on now.
Because if you're just cutting yourself off short, then if there's no attempt, if FedEx trying to deliver the sneakers, right, and they're still gonna put the thing on the door,
you're gonna see that sticker.
You're gonna see it.
You're gonna see the sticker,
and then it's on to you,
right?
You know?
So it's like, come on, man. Let's do something different.
Yeah. I mean, shout out Mayoral. He gave me some questions I wanted to ask you, but one of them was housing. You touched on it a little bit,
Yep.
And I've seen your ads, but like my question is, I'm noticing a lot of people moving out of New York,
Yep.
right? So that's stopping us becoming from native New Yorkers, right?
Yep.
So what are you trying to do to make people stay?
This is like one of the biggest things and issues confronting the city is that people can't afford a place to live.
Yeah.
And you hear this all the time, and people often assume, well, this is just a certain class of people. There's everybody that I speak to.
Yeah.
Everybody that I speak to. The median rent in this city is $4,000.
It's crazy.
$4,000.
Is that a studio?
Yeah, it's like, this is, you go, and it's slightly lower in Brooklyn, slightly higher in Manhattan, in between in some of the other boroughs. But this is completely out of reach for mad people.
Yeah.
My wife and I want to own. We born and raised here.
Yeah.
Went to the same elementary school.
Same. I want to own too. So yeah.
We want to own.
Yeah.
The average cost for home ownership in the city right now is $900,000, and that's the average. There are places in the city where it's usually, the block that I grew up on, all the homes on the block cost $1.5 million and up now.
Wow.
I don't got it.
We don't got it.
We don't got it.
So make sure you subscribe so you can help me get one of these houses.
Like we don't got it. And so people make choices based on that. And they make very rational choices. Mm-hmm. They go to places that they can afford. That's bad for everybody for a number of reasons. One, we lose the tax revenue. Mm-hmm. If you're not spending the money in the city, you're not contributing to the tax economy here in the city, then we have less money for schools, less money for subways, less money for programming. But it also changes the fabric of the city. Mm-hmm. Right? You want people to be able to come here like our parents came here to chase opportunity. Yeah. No one guarantees you the outcome here in the city, right? No. Like we cannot guarantee you the outcome. But if we could say you will have a fighting chance, you'll have an opportunity, that's what I want. So
an attempt will be made.
An attempt will be made. Yeah. So I have a very bold plan. I want to deliver 1 million homes over the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And that's another time where people like sit up in their chair and go, oh, 1 million.
Yeah.
We have to be bold.
Yeah.
That's the only way that we're going to get to a real solution. Mm-hmm. And so I want to use a lot of tools to get there, but that's a really big thing for me because if you can't afford to live in this city, then none of the other stuff really matters.
Yeah. I always say, I mean, we've heard it before, but the city is a luxury, but like we are able to do a lot of things, but some people, will only be able to, work to live or live to work. Like which one is it? Mm-hmm. And so it's a tough thing to navigate. Also having a sneaker collection, it's even tougher,
storage.
I mean, no. If I ever got to storage, I gotta stop.
Right.
I've always said this because even though it is bad right now, it's manageable.
Right. That's
right. I've seen people be like, Joe LaPuma, shout out Joe LaPuma, but he recently said, he was like, I have 2 storage. I'm like, two. And he said, set it and forget it. I'm like, yeah, you're just paying, you're paying, first of all, you're paying your rent, and then now you're paying storage. And then on top of that, you're buying sneakers.
Right. It's
I'm living my life wrong.
Exactly.
That's what all I'm hearing.
Exactly.
But we're towards the end of the podcast, and I wanted to ask you another question that deals with a little visualization. Yep. I want you to think back to when you were a younger kid opening that box of the Shacknosis, right? Now you're you behind your younger self. What would you tell your younger self as they open that box?
Wow, that's an excellent question. I'd tell my young self that this moment, opening up the box, hearing the wrinkling of the paper, the smell of the new shoe, that was going to bring you a lot of joy for the rest of your life, and to not be discouraged that you wouldn't have this smell for quite some time until you started working, but that it would not only give you some personal joy, but that you're going to be able to use it as a connector with so many other people. I was just on my way here. I was out in the Bronx on Hunts Point, talking to people in the subway, and I had at least 2 people point out. I was like, I see you in the J's in the suit. Like, no, they know nothing about me, nothing. I'm running to be mayor of the greatest city in the world. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that they noticed was that I had sneakers on.
Yeah.
Nothing else does that.
Yeah.
And I would encourage my younger self that this was going to be the beginning of a beautiful journey.
I think so too. The way that people use sneakers as a through line, the reason why I made this podcast, it's something that you can connect to people on a different level, because no matter where you are, where you're from, that's that sneaker, that story, that sneaker and your story come together.
That's right.
Just changes through whatever model, whatever. But appreciate you pulling up. Let everybody know where to find you and hit that ballot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So firstly, I really appreciate this. If you want more information on my campaign, Zellnor.nyc, ZELLNOR.NYC. Here in New York City, early voting begins June 14th.
Okay.
Election day is June 24th. Make sure you come out and tell everybody that they got to vote. The last mayoral election 4 years ago, you know how many eligible voters came out? The percentage, 22%.
Whoa.
22% of people who were eligible to vote decided who the next mayor was going to be in the primary. So let's step up. Make sure you tell your people, vote, and vote for me, number one. Do not vote for Andrew Cuomo anywhere on your ballot.
Not even. He's definitely not getting. Not even a.
Come on now.
I might black out his name on that. Hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know where to find me. I am Who Is Haas on all social media. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. And if you have been listening to this, make sure you hit up the YouTube. YouTube.com/my first kicks. And you know what we say each week? Wear your kicks. Peace.